Ah, Barry, thanks for inviting us today to your humble abode.
Thank you.
For people who don't know who are you and what do you do?
My name is Barry O'Shea. I own and direct the director of a company called Bossfix Academy. Barry O'Shea Superfix Academy specialises in, originally it was weight loss, but now it's health and well-being, weight loss, just helping people transform their lives through fitness.
Absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you very much for the invite. So, amazing facility here. But could you tell us, how did the journey start right from the beginning?
For me, it was when I was in school, primary school. I went to quite a rough primary school. Wasn't a great primary school, and I was put in my brother's year, who's 2 years older than me. So straight away, I obviously realised that I was quite intelligent. I didn't know myself until my mum changed me to another primary school, thinking that I could actually do something in my life, educational-wise, or good academics. And she moved me to another primary school in the area, and I felt like I was put back in my younger cousin's class, who was actually the same age as me, but it was 2 years lower than me. So I'm used to hanging around with people who was older than me, because I was seen as quite intelligent. I was doing my I done like my GCSEs in year 7 basically. What it felt like that because I'd done high level sats in year 6, and it was and I got quite high grades. Went into secondary school and got put in an average class, but I got into a very good secondary school. I got into London Archery, which is in Chelsea, next door to Chelsea's football ground. But I was put in there and I got into an average class, which for me isn't good because I'm competitive. And I was like, this is get higher up. And by the time I got to year 9, they changed it around. I got into all the top classes. That's basically where it started for me.
Perfect. So, after school, what happened from there?
At the time, I was living in quite a bad area, just outside Mozart Estate, the Avenues in West London. My mum moved to West Kensington near Chelsea to get me closer to the school. So I was only walking distance from the school. And I remember my brother went to do a paper round, and he done it for one day and was like, oh, it was too much, took an hour and a half. So I said, I'll do it the next day. I went and done it, took me an hour and a half as well. However, I carried on doing the paper round for 2 years. Went to that school, got into all the top sets, got a job at Chelsea football ground when I was 14, and then I had a fake ID.
Okay.
So I was very entrepreneurial from young. I was selling yo-yos, Tamagotchis in school. Remember, I come from a council estate, and all the people in my school, most of them were rich.
Yeah, so you were like, you had that hustle in you from very young.
And I also wasn't raised with, there was always food on the table and so forth, but I wasn't raised with lots of money. You know, when I went to this new school, all the children there my own age seemed like they were really immature, but they weren't. It was my age. It's because I was raised very quick. I mean, in my area, I brought up with people getting shot and parents drinking, and there's arguments in the street, fights all the time, people looking up to drug dealers. It was like, then I go to this school and it's like, that was all unheard of. There was at the cinema on the weekend with their parents watching Little Nicky, whereas I'm with my pals who's smoking cracking blocks and burgling houses. So it was nuts. Didn't make sense.
Yeah. So, would you say that areas make a big difference to people being successful and not, and having the hustle?
I think the bigger pain you go through, the more success you'll have. Just that's just my own opinion on it. It can still happen for some people, but I believe that the lower you go, the higher you go. And if you've got that grit in you to survive at the bottom, you can go, because you don't mind being at the bottom. I've been there for most of my life, so it's like if you can then rise up. Being at the bottom's easy for me. You know, I've looked in a prison cell for 6 years, so I can do that. So I can master most things. And if you can master yourself, you're set. So having that come from nothing, put around the environment people who are parents are quite successful. They're not looking at money as like an object. It was just nothing to them. I wanted what everyone else had around me. So I was like, right, how do I get it? Do you know what I mean? So for me, I got it through academics. Yeah. Being smart and hustling.
Got you. So, obviously, school, did you go to college?
I never went to secondary. I went to secondary school till year 10. Started selling drugs. Went from selling yo-yos and Tamagotchis to selling drugs. Realised that
And what age was that, sorry?
I was about 14, 15. So I realised, now we moved to West Kensington. My parents broke apart. My mum moved back to the old area. And now I've moved back there. I'd grown up. I was bigger. I wasn't the young, shy boy who used to hide behind my brother, and I was getting bullied as a child. My brother was getting bullied, and I see all these idiots in the area, and I thought it's not a very smart place to be. And I thought, like, how can I use my academics to... I don't want to go back to being that shy, innocent kid.
Yeah.
So what I've done was I put on this front, become a big rugby player. I was the boy from the area who went to the posh school, except behind it all, I was really good at creating this image for myself. Started selling drugs. I looked at the people who stood out, drug dealers in my area. So I wanted to be a drug dealer. So that's what I thought I did. Went down the route, become a drug dealer. I still done my GCSEs, passed them all really well. 9 GCSEs, I think all A's and B's. But instead of going to college or sixth form, and I could have probably gone into a really decent university, I chose to carry on selling drugs. Well, I qualified as an electrician first in like a year, but it just seemed really boring to me. I was making a lot of money from selling drugs at a young age. So I thought I should carry on selling drugs.
And was it that image of a drug dealer that, you know, you've got a really big name and everyone respects you, everybody looks up to you, and was it that image that you were always after because you used to get bullied?
It's exactly that. It was exactly that. It done all for me. Look, it filled... I find that people tend to mould their life around what they want it to be like. I mean, you're a lifestyle, true indication of the type of person you are. So now I've become this big person, think I'm a hot shot, girls talking to me, boys looking at me, people being afraid of me, having power. Whereas before I was an innocent, shy kid who went to a posh school. Now I've used all my knowledge to make money, choosing the wrong trade, except what it done was it brought me respect, power. It wasn't going back to being that shy, innocent kid anymore who's cowering away. Now people would think twice about saying something to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm capable of.
And let's be honest, in that kind of world, it's not easy. It comes with very highs and lows, and guessing there was a lot of trouble that you had to go through within that life that happened.
Mate, listen, to survive in my area, being a drug dealer and being pretty good at it at a young age, you've got to be able to sort of hold your own. I grew up in an area where there's all different ethnic minorities, black boys, white boys, Asian boys. We all sort of got along, and it was like, but if you come from another area into my area, you're in trouble. You get kidnapped. I mean, I know people have been shot, kidnapped, family members, cousins. All my best friends, we were dead or doing life in jail. Do you know what I mean? And it's like I'm the only one who hasn't, and it's because the sad thing is, I just chose the wrong trade. So drug dealer, I should have chosen a different trade. I was pretty good entrepreneurial skills. I had a lot of money in my account from a young age, from 15, 16, I had to survive on my own 2 feet. And the issue is that I chose the wrong trade. I didn't realise I should have sort of known that my obsessive gene to want and do better stemmed from being in addiction issues. And then suddenly I started taking my own supply, and before you know it, I'm a full-blown drug addict.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
which went down mental.
Yes. So, how old were you when all this was going on?
Started selling drugs in school. I literally used to buy 20. I mean, the thing is, right, you go to this posh school, none of them get hold of alcohol, drugs, they're too afraid to do it. Whereas I knew my local shopkeeper, I knew boys who sold drugs. So I'd buy £20 worth of ash, which back then was like a quarter, chop it into 20 pieces, which is next to nothing, sell it at £20 each and make 180 quid. I thought I was rich. Friday would come, I'd have that, plus I'd have the Chelsea money. And I keep account of everything. I had all the tools that relate to business from a young age, and I was doing all that. And it was like, when I hit 17, then someone walked in one day and had some cocaine, and I thought I can sell that. I thought I'd go around to the people I sell weed to, and I sold it really quickly. And I thought, okay, no, this is really good market for this. I never took any drugs. I puffed weed here and there, but nothing massive. And then I started selling the cocaine, and then I think one day I tried it. I was just like...
So you knew how to sell stuff, but like you say, it was the wrong trade.
Yeah, I chose the wrong trade, right? What is someone who's academically smart, who come from a counselling, who wasn't meant to get into one of the best schools in Britain, if not the best school? Tony Blair's sons are in the year above me. He was Prime Minister at the time. So I'm going to one of the best schools. But at the same time, it's like, I come from most people in there, I think I was one of the only boys in the year on free school dinners. Everyone else was all paid for.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, and I come from a broken family. My mum bought a Primark, a blazer from Primark, and sewed this badge onto it. Whereas the school uniforms were like £1,000. We couldn't afford that. Do you know what I mean? I had food on the table and we survived, but when it comes down to proper money, these kids never wanted for nothing. And it was only me and a few other boys, selected boys that were from a different sort of neck of the woods. Yeah. So I wanted what they wanted, and then I started realising I could make it through money. Mum moved back to the old area, used my academics, got to a nice size. I had a lot of money put away from young. I knew where I could grow to with drugs. You know, I started off with a little piece of ash here and there in school. Next minute, I'm buying 200 Qs of skunk. My brother went to prison. I stole some of his money and bought 200 Q of skunk. Sold it all. By the time he came out, I paid his money back, and now I was getting half a bar, like it's 200 Qs. Then within a few months, I'm getting 2 or 3 kilos. Then I'm walking down from my pal's house to my house with 20 kilos of skunk. 17 years old. Yeah. No one's robbing me because I've got a bit of respect because of who I'm doing it with.
Yep.
I'm seeing, no one really knew my age. Everyone thought I was older than I was. And then it was like, then I started selling cocaine. Before you know it, I'm sitting in my room with £250,000 in drinking, in drugs and money. Like, and I'm 17 and I look like I'm older than what I am. I think I'm the king. I'm going out with all the big boys. I think I'm it. And then the issue started taking it. The issue wasn't even that. The issue was I was insecure from the beginning and I wanted to stand out and don't be too shy. So that's where it all started from.
Yeah.
But I chose to go down the wrong route to show off in an area people ain't so smart and get some attention. And I've done it through that route. Everyone else does it through. Do you know what I mean? In the area where I grew up, it's like the girls are brought up to get a drug dealer boyfriend, get a council house, and get on the sick. The boys either go and rob boxes, you become a drug dealer, or you get some sort of trade. Do you know what I mean? Or you just lounge around and do. Well, no one really makes it out.
Yeah,
and that's it. And it's a very secluded area, and everyone sort of hold each other. It's mental energy. I get off in London sometimes now, and it can bam, I'm back in the same energy really quickly. It's weird. It's really, really odd. Can't explain to you until you're in it. It almost like to fit in, you got to be in. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's only when I left jail. Every time I left jail, I'd come out and I'd be I could feel the difference. I'd be like, no man, this is an idiots around here. And to me, but then the only way to fit in is to have a drink, get on it with them. The next minute you're back in it and you've forgotten all about the last 9 months where I've just planned myself to do well and get better. But then I'm back in the mix of it.
So your environment is basically who would make you or not make you, and who you surround yourself with.
But ultimately, it does lie in you because I've got the tools behind me now to put me in any environment. I know what I'm doing. I go to London like most any other week, and I'm not doing what I did before.
Yep.
All my old friends ain't my old friends anymore. I've got nothing to prove to anyone. I felt before I had things to prove. Remember, I was that shy kid. I want to prove everything. I don't need to prove nothing to no one anymore. The truth is, I don't really give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a very powerful position to be in. But it's taken me almost 6 years of being clean. When I first got clean, I was buying all brand new clothes, just started the business up, like putting all fresh clothes. I got to try and prove a point. Look at me now. Who am I asking to look at me? Idiots in my area who don't really support me anyway.
Yeah.
Who don't really want me, subconsciously, they don't really want to see me do well. Yeah. People from the same area as you, they don't say it to you, but subconsciously, when you do well, you're highlighting their flaws or what they can do. And they don't want to see that. So when that happens, and I'm one of the people, if I walk into a room and I see someone there who's made it, or got something about them, I want to know how they done it, where they done it, and I want to get fit, and I'm buzzing. Same way you will say when you come to meet me, that sort of level, I want to know how they done it. I want to get as much information as I can. I'll pay to go for a meal with them. That's why all my friends now, big business owners, millionaires, doing extremely well for them, because I want to know what they have. I've got a business mentor, doesn't even know it, it's my friend, but my phone all the time for advice.
Yeah.
Whereas before, the people around me wasn't like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you know you're worth more, I always knew deep down I was hopefully destined for goodness. Do you know what I mean? And it was took 15 years of being a full-blown fucking drug addict. Didn't even know I was a drug addict because everyone else around me done it. Till it come to a point where literally everything was gone. Maybe now I need to go back. My biggest upset for them 15 years of being a drug addict was that I fucked up. Who goes from my area? It's one of the best schools in Britain. Gets great grades. Does extremely well as a young age with drugs, and then fucks it all up and blows it all.
Yeah.
And that's what upset me the most. I didn't want to go back to scratch and start from the beginning. And I thought I was enjoying the party lifestyle. Well, I'll do club 18 to 30. When I get 30, then I'll change. Then I'm in 30. I'm still in prison. I was like, right. When I get to 32, and I'm sitting on the bench, and it was like, right, maybe now it's time to change. Enough's enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have, and I genuinely felt like I've grown up the last 5-6 years. Massive.
And you've mentioned you've been to prison numerous times on this podcast. How did you get to that? How did you get into prison in the beginning, and when was the last time you went in? And if we start from the beginning, how did you get to prison the first time?
Well, I was one of them boys, right? You'd be in a house party with all your pals, and in my area, everyone goes to jail, just like a rite of passage. You know, you don't mean to. And I would always be the odd one out who'd never been in prison. You know, because I was a shy boy who went to good school, got good grades, and now I'm making a lot of money from selling drugs. He's a smart guy. He doesn't get involved in that shit. Next minute, I'm having a relationship breakup. I can't handle relationship breakups. I can't handle rejection. Maybe it's a part of my competitive nature. Maybe it's down to the environment I grew up in. Who knows? I don't really know the ins and outs of it. But what I do know is I can't handle rejection very well, or relationships. I was brought up in a family where other people's parents and including my own and family, they all fucking fight and argue with each other. So I think that's normal. So now I'm in a relationship where, plus I'm taking drink or drugs in the background. Then when we broke up, and probably me who pushed her away, suddenly I'm in hell. And then a couple of boys was making phone calls to me. They were going to do this and that to me, and it was down via it connected to a past relationship. I went round there, sniffed up off my nut and called remorse, and ended up in jail. I got nicked for attempted arson.
And that was the first time?
First time, put in prison. I was in prison on remand for 4 months in Scrubs, Wormwood Scrubs, and it was difficult.
And how old were you then?
I was 23.
23, first time in prison?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, and it was. I was in it for 4 months, up for attempted arson. Thought I was going to get many years, but there was only water in the bottle. There was no intention to actually really hurt anyone. It was just me off my nut, trying to make it look like. Remember, I'm very good at making it appear to be this, and this. I'm good at, because as I did from being in a school, I can appear to be what I'm doing, very good at manipulation and salesman tactics. So I've done it all to stop the people who's going to do that to me, get them a little bit afraid. If I make it look like I'm going to blow someone's house up, put petrol through the window, then they're going to be afraid of me. So that's what I made it look like. I was never going to do it. It was water in a bottle. I had no intention to.
Yeah.
But when you're standing in court for attempted arson, it was crazy until they hear that it's water and they're like, oh well.
Yeah.
So I got released. Yeah.
So Barry, you mentioned that you had some insecurities. That's why you started drugs. Is that why you started drugs?
Well, the reason why I mean, first of all, number one was money. I always looked at money as power, and also being a drug dealer, I saw the drug dealers got respected, but also it also took me away from being insecure, being shy. Felt like I was being bullied by people. Like people would bully the friends I was hanging around with in my area and my brother, but they wouldn't even go near me because I was so shy and like the innocent one. And it was like I didn't want to feel like that anymore. So I figured if I sell drugs, make money, stand out, then suddenly I'm going to start getting attention from girls, attention from being powerful. And it also, when I was young, year 6, I think it was, I had a teacher sexually groom me, which was is only just being dealt with right now. From one of the podcasts I'd done 2 years ago. Brought it up, spoke about it, next minute someone else come forward, and now it's in the process of being dealt with. And because of me being sexually groomed, it would make me feel a bit awkward, like is there something wrong with me? And yeah, and it's quite a nervy thing to do.
Do you think that was anything to do with how your life turned out?
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people who have made it and been in prison and that. There's always been either some sort of sexual grooming to them, when it was bullied. I know most big gangsters that I know have been bullied badly when they were young. They come from some sort of torment. You don't just suddenly become a big bad motherfucker because you was a nice kid. Do you know what I mean? It comes about by something, either being involved. Like you hear these stories, oh, he's a gangster. You don't see the 20 years they've done in prison and all the hell that they've been through to get there. It just looks appealing. You don't see all the shit, or you don't see these people who are drug addicts. Like you don't see the shit they've been through to get there, being raped by their parents or raped by these people. It's not a nice experience, and it wasn't for me.
Right.
It was. I didn't realize at the time. I think I probably looked more at the person like it was my dad. And it scarred me for many years until I'd done the podcast, and I never ever went to the police or anything because I kept that hidden. But when I got drunk or too drugged up, it'd always play on my mind. And I'd done the podcast, brought it up. One of my life coaches said to me when I was in prison a few years back, if it's meant to come out, it will come out.
Yeah.
Just trust it will be, you know. God is good and it will come out. And it did. And now suddenly going through the process, the legal laws involved, and it is what it is, whether the guy serves justice or whatever he serves justice. But I know I've done my part and done the right thing to stop it happening to anyone else.
Barry, so you've been in prison a few times, you've mentioned. In total, how long have you been in prison, and when was the last? And what was the changing point in that?
In total, I'd served just under roughly 6 years, maybe a bit more, I can't remember, on remand. In prison and remand, sentences and remand. So roughly 6 years, copious times, in and out like yo-yo. From 2010 to 2019, I was in jail every single year without fail. The most I was ever out was 6 months, I think. I'd come out, great attitude, doing well, back in within 6 months. But during that process, become a personal trainer. I was a senior letters negotiator in Notting Hill. Remember, I'm a good entrepreneur, so I can talk the talk. I get good jobs. I'd always land in some employment somewhere. You know what I mean? In it, but well, while I was in jail, I went in there. Jail's just like a mental health hospital, to be honest. Everyone's in there, a little bit immature. There's a couple of big people in there for money. You rarely get people in there who are doing well or entrepreneurs. It's just you're around people who are similar to yourself. And is that I always think like that there's only one place lower than jail, death. So you're in prison. You're at the lowest form of society, murderers, rapists, and everything else. It's like, how do you make yourself better in yourself? So, but every time I went to jail, it was like a rehab for me. So I'd stay clean in there, start training myself, and I realised that it's because all my outside resources are being removed. All I've got left is my own mind, and determination and grit. Reading books, you looking forward to a phone call, a visit every week, and you remove yourself from the outside environment and you work solely on yourself. While I was in jail, I qualified as a personal trainer. I'd come out clean, I'd always come out bigger, stronger. I loved the personal training. And then while I was in there, I got released 1 year after having a fight in a house party. Don't know if it was me or my brother who hit the guy in the eye because of he was all drunk. And I think the guy stabbed my brother in the neck. There was blood everywhere. Jeez. And next minute, my brother got 5 years, and I got 21 months. But when I come out after 21 months, it's when I got shot in the stomach a month later. So I was going through hell, but that's how I ended. Without the shooting, I'd never become a personal trainer. We wouldn't be here today.
How did that situation happen? Could you tell us about that?
To be honest, back then, I had so much psychosis from using cocaine. I didn't know the ins and outs of what was going on. So I left jail, had a bit of money behind me still, come out, I've done all these courses. I'm not going to use drugs anymore. I'm not going to do this. I'm out. Next one, I'm on a 2-day bender. Then I just went on a 1 month relapse. Hungry on cocaine, dabbling in crack here and there, not telling anyone. I mean, you in my area, you can sniff cocaine, but you can't smoke crack because you're a crackhead. Fucking sniffing their brains out. I mean, doing $3,000 on the weekend. So I was out for the whole of the month, and then I caused a lot of trouble over that month. I didn't know whether it was down to a relationship I was in, whether it was down to a couple of drug dealers I'd robbed, the people I would punch in the face. There's a lot of people that I'd caused a lot of trouble with. I couldn't walk through my area without people being after me. I walk through my area and people jump out of vans behind me, chase me with guns or knives, trying to stab me. And that's the life in which I led. So it was like, I didn't really know who it was on the show. But I was out on New Year's Eve. I see someone in a bar or in a club where I was at on New Year's Eve. I chinned him, left, threw out a couple of threats, forgot all about it, went back to another house party over in Abbott Grove. Then thought I'll go and see my little brother, who's at my mum's house. I'll go and have a couple lines with him, have a little bit of a party. I thought it was only still about midnight. I didn't realise it was 6 o'clock in the morning. Went to the house. I was getting phone calls from someone telling me to come and meet her, but then I thought it was a setup, so I didn't know. But then I left my house forgetting all about it. I was walking down the road and bam, 2 guys jumped out from behind a car. I knew what they was there for. This is. But the thing is, the story I'm giving you is a story that my brain has allowed me to believe it is, because my psychosis was so bad. Because I've got different variations in my head of what happened, and I can't really trust fucking thinking, because even with the attempted arson, I got arrested and I fully believe the bottle was smashed on the floor with water in it. They pulled the bottle up in the interview room with water in it. It was like, you can't be. So this is how bad my psychosis is. So I don't really know the ins and outs of it.
Yeah.
But then I've been shot. Leave the guy put the gun to my head. This is just another story. What I thought. And the guy put the gun to my head because I remember seeing a big white flash. I didn't even know I'd been shot in the stomach. I remember running left and right. But I clearly remember what happened in my mum's house when I got back, which was the real, started off all nuts, being shot in the stomach. But when the guy, I think they had hoods up, so I didn't know who it was, but when the guy pulled the gun from my head, it could have been a number of few people that I thought it could have been by the height and the stature of them. Pulled the gun from my head, and I was like, I've been shot. That's when I remember my stomach going, and I jumped up and I was thinking, and I thought, right, how do I get out of this situation? And I start making as much noise as I can, running down in the opposite direction, back towards my mum's house. My mum's house is safety, right? And I can see my mum's bedroom window. So I was running left and right, thinking if the guy unjammed the gun, because I believe the gun jammed up, so he wasn't firing any bullets, and then bullets started firing, I believe. But as I said, it's all a bit of a mess in my head. But I was bent over, running left and right, and then no bullets hit me. I got to the corner of my mum's road. Now I ran about 50 meters, and my whole left side of my body just shrugged, and I was like, I could feel it. That's when I was like, so I hobbled to my mum's front door, banged on the door. My brother was answered the door, and he was like, And I've walked in straight past him. He ran past me to my mum's bedroom, and I just stayed there looking at the front door behind me, thinking these boys are going to come through. Whoever's there who's done it and shoot me dead. I'm standing there looking ready for they come through the door and run at them. No one come through the door. God willing, no one come through the door. My mum come down the stairs. What's happened? And my mum and my brother dragged me into the front room, like along the floor, like a wounded soldier. I remember being dragged along the floor into the front room, thinking, where's all the blood? Where's all the blood? And I was like, then my sister come downstairs, and my head was leaned up against the sofa behind me. She sat behind me on the sofa. She was like, where's all the blood? And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like that, and she was like, and I was like, all right, help me. I sat myself up on there. I put my hand around my back, and I could feel like a tennis ball coming out my back. But it was like sharp from a China plane.
Oh, okay.
That's when I knew the bullet hadn't gone through me. It was still in me. I must have hit something in my back. I didn't know if it was my skin or an organ or what, but it was all blown out. I was like, no. And I looked down. There was no blood coming out. It was like a big, massive hot rock had gone into me. I think maybe the heat of the bullet might have closed up the wound or whatever, but it was still there, like that whole there. I remember leaning forward, and I went to my brother, listen, go up to my room. There's an 8-ball of sniff that I'm not dying. Give my start sniffing some cocaine.
What? What? No, I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh with you about it, but it's jokes at first. Why you've been shot? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Wow. Fucking nuts, bro. Absolutely nuts. But mate, I was nuts. Fucking nuts. If I'm in whatever I'm doing, I can be really nutty in it. So I'm sitting there now. Go upstairs, get an 8-ball. He comes downstairs. We're sitting there sniffing lines. The lines run out. I'm making phone calls. You dead. You're blah 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 to phone up random people, and then I started feeling a little bit different. My 2 pals who was in the park with me earlier come walking in. Oh my god! My sister's boyfriend walked in, vomited everyone on the floor, and it's surreal. When I look back now, it didn't really happen. And then my mum's sitting there crying, who's phoned the ambulance, who haven't come. We're like half an hour in, and I'm sitting there thinking, what's going on? I've got my feet on the doggy bed. Then I could feel myself sort of getting more drained, and it was like I was trying to stay awake, thinking, oh, and then 2 police officers come in with big guns. Right. And I didn't know. I think there's a helicopter going to come and get me, rush me to hospital, like, as if I'm privileged enough to have a helicopter. But the police officers come in. They said we need to secure the area first. Then the 2 medics come in, and the woman come. I remember the woman come over to me, and I sort of waking up now. She was like, oh, and I remember saying to her, and people say to me, oh, you don't get an answer out of a medic, all right? But if you understand, I'm quite good. And I was like, listen, I hear what you're saying to me. I need to know the truth. Am I going to die? Like, I don't care, just yes or no, but I need to know now, am I going to die? She was like, I think you're too far gone. And people say, oh, people don't say it to you. And I'm telling you, that's what she told me. And it was like, I said, you're dying, you must be nuts. I'm not dying. I tell you how adamant I was. She pulled out a pair of scissors to cut my t-shirt. And I was like, you ain't cutting this top. This is the change. It's a £400 t-shirt. I'd actually robbed it from Selfridges a couple months before that when I was up there. So I've got my entire family pulling my jeans off me, standing on my doggy bed, with a bullet lodged in my spine, an hour in, dying on the floor, because I'm adamant I'm not going to die. And that literally was the last thing I remember. I have little glimmers of being in the ambulance. And I woke up in hospital 3 days later. And that's when the realness of what's actually fucking happened hit me. And that was mental.
So you woke up in the hospital. What happened from there?
Woke up, could hear like do, like the sound of machines. Got police officers standing around me. There was 2 or 3 plus, maybe even 4. I can't even remember. They was on shift every 8 hours. My family there around me crying, and then I woke up and I had like a big scar here with staples in it going up.
Jeez.
And I was like, man, and I thought it was fucking dreams. Do you know what I mean? And I could remember the whitest of white. I know people say that when they're about to pass away, you see white as white, but I can see the whitest of white. I promise you, no, I really did. And it was like, wow. And I was like, when I looked down, it was like, oh, God, it's fucking truth. And I was like, it's not a dream. I've been shot. I've been on a mental bender again, as usual. This time around, it's really hit me hard. I'm sitting there looking down, I was drained, and then the doctor come down, the surgeon come and sat next to me and said to me, you're extremely lucky. The bullet's gone through you. I think they had to remove half my small intestines. It's hit me in the spine. They couldn't remove all of the bullet. Fragments still in there, because it might have paralysed me completely. I might have to, it's a possibility I might never walk again. I had a colostomy bag, one of them bags you put your thing to. It took me about an hour and a half just to sit up. My friend walked in, love him, sat down. An hour and a half just to get me up. I was like, and then I remember vomiting into this like mud. And what the reason why I remember the white is because when I was vomiting, it was like black sewer stuff, like going in there. That was the dry blood, buckets of it. And but imagine vomiting with 209 stitches inside of you. It was that was more painful than anything. Still to this day, it was sheer pain. The shooting, didn't feel it. I was high as a kite anyway. Didn't feel it. Wasn't in pain at all. Sniffing cocaine off. Didn't feel none of it. People say it was just shooting hard. It wasn't. It's probably because I was high as a kite. If I was sober, maybe. But getting vomiting afterwards and the mental trauma I've gone through since, and being locked back in a fucking prison cell 3 days later was the real. That was it. That was the hard point. But when I was sitting there, vomiting up, and then them telling me I might be able to walk in, I was like, "Oh, Dad, you must be nuts." I'm adamant. I'm walking. I remember getting up onto one leg, hop into the toilet, open the toilet door. I remember in St Mary's, looking in at the mirror, and my whole body was just drained. And I was, I remember looking after me, girl, you really fucked it this time. And I was like, I left Joe a month ago. Tonk. Yeah, I'm looking at the state of me. And I was like, then I remember sitting there. So I had to sit down on like a little chair thing for mobility issues, showering myself up, thinking, where do I go from here?
Like, where how the hell did I get to here?
I get here, like I left jail. I just done courses in prison. I was in Elstoke in Bristol, like one of the hardest fucking jails you'll be in for violence, because of my violence. So I go there, I do these courses, come out, I'm back in the same predicament a month later, and then I'm about to be banged back up, and I didn't even know back in prison. You know what I mean? Fucking horrible.
And that was a month later, did you say?
A month later, I got released on November 29th. I was back in. I got shot December 31st. A month later, 4 weeks later, come out, blown all my money, went on a 1 month relapse, caused murders everywhere, absolute trouble everywhere, just absolute carnage. Still didn't know I was a drug addict. Still just thought I'm just sniffing cocaine and drinking, it's fine. And next thing I got a fucking bullet in my back, in hospital, almost dead. God knows what's about to happen to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. So, Barry, what was the changing point?
Sadly, it wasn't even the shooting. Wasn't the in and out of prison. It was the point when my mum had sort of said she had enough, and not with her. I'd burnt all my bridges. I had nowhere to go. My own place that I was living in, the people that meant to be my friends had sort of turned their back on me. I had nowhere to go. Walking the street with nowhere to go, not knowing where your next meal coming from someone who's had a lot of money, been entrepreneurial, went to one of the best schools in Britain, is a fucking serious fact to take on board. Knowing what I believed I could do and what I was worth. Sitting there at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning, I can't even go into my own mum's house anymore because I've caused fucking wars again, and I'm drunk again, but she won't accept. I'm sitting on the canal, 6 o'clock in the morning, I've got multiple charges, what I'm up for, all down the trims of being a drug addict, thinking, and I looked and thought, I prefer to be in a fucking scrub prison now, sorting myself out. And when you're looking at prison as the light, this is a serious problem.
Yeah.
And I was like, and that's when it was. Even my close friends, I'd had arguments with them, rightly so, I caused a lot of trouble to them, and they caused problems to me. I burnt my bridges everywhere I went. I had people chasing me, robbed everyone, just caused wars everywhere I went. Just absolute carnage, like a cockroach, go around everywhere from one area to the next. And I just felt really low. Mental health pushed me to the point where I was fucking suicidal. I mean, over them 10 years while I was a drug addict, I tried to commit suicide 2 or 3 times. I was locked in a mental health hospital twice, sectioned. Like my psychosis and my downward spirals been really deep. When you go to really high levels with drugs, you're going to go really deep the other side and it floods out of you. I was sitting on that canal looking around and I was thinking, mate, 5 years ago I had a plan. I was going to write a book. Remember, I've been qualified at the PT. I'd worked in fitness first, earning good money. I was going to do this, I had all these dreams. I was thinking, do you think it might be the fucking drink or the drugs? I keep choosing to pick up a drink or drug. And that's when I was like, you know what? I need to go to prison, ask the judge, can I go to rehab, get myself better, go to study this 12-step program that people talk of that's got a good success rate. I'm good at courses and academics. Go and do that. And hopefully then I'll have things in place where I can then start my own business. And all these thoughts are flooding through my head and I just thought, right, that's it. Walked round to the corner to my mum's house, walked in front of the police. I knew they'd be there. They come and arrested me. And that was the starting point. That was it. That was nearly 6 years ago. I'm still in them.
Jeez.
Wow. So you go back to your mum's and you get arrested.
Yes.
And what happens from there?
I've been awake because first of all I was thinking I've been awake for 2-3 days. I need to get to a bed anyway and sleep. I had too much pride to sleep on the street. Even though I was sofa surfing and I had slept on the street here and there, being homeless, and everyone was after me. So I couldn't even go sleep in my own area because I was afraid of being killed. So I was like, right, I'll go police station. I had myself, went to the police, got to the police station, fell asleep in the cell. I think I had shit all over me, my own excrements. I woke up and then it's like, it's hit me. You know, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of here? What do I do? Like, I can make up this excuse. I can pretend I'm an estate agent still. And I just sat there and thinking, you know what? Just give in, man. Enough's enough. It's May 11th. It's about to be summer, which means I'm going to have a mental summer because summer's a great time to be drinking and taking drugs. I thought I've got nowhere to go. My mum turned her back on me. My family, my mum wanted to set me in, not turn her back on me. I pushed myself away. Do you know what I mean? Saying she turned her back on me, I think saying her fault. It weren't. I put everyone in a position to do that, to it myself.
Yeah.
I mean, all down to my own choices. Then I'm sitting there and thought, right, I'm going to go in front of the judge tomorrow and I'm just going to tell the truth. I come out of court a month ago. I'm meant to be wearing a tag. I'm not even wearing one. I didn't even go home. Went straight to John Lewis in Brent Cross to go and do some fucking robbing, shoplifting, to get some money to go and get on it straight away. So, and going from someone who's personal trained, been a lettings negotiator, earned that sort of money, I'm now shoplifting, clothes, food, got nowhere to stay. I'm at real low levels of society, right? My addiction is at a whole new level, but still I wouldn't accept that I was a full-blown drug addict because I wasn't on heroin. You know what I mean? I might dabble in crack, but I don't really like it. All I am was a sniffer, and everyone sniffs. The truth is, it was holding me back massively, and my decision-making to continue on that lifestyle was ruining me. But behind it all, I knew, I used to sit with some of my friends and I'm like, oh, when will it ever happen for us? When will it ever change for us? And I used to think, didn't I look and think in my head like, am I fucking nuts? I'm not doing this forever. I genuinely knew in my heart I'd get out of it one way or the other. And I believed I would anyway. And I think maybe that belief and maybe that sense of arrogance might have saved me when it comes down to, you know, having that good education behind me and the good academic skills and good entrepreneurial skills has saved me many times in court, but also saved me in the long run of actually getting me better. So when I went to court, I thought, do you know what? And I sat there thinking, I'm going to tell the judge the truth. And if he puts me in rehab, he puts me in rehab. If he puts me in jail, so be it. And I thought, maybe I'll get 4 years, do 2. I can handle 2 years. I'll go rehab at the end of the sentence. I went in front of the judge and I said, can I speak openly? I said, look, rather than putting me in jail on remand, where I'm saying around all fucking idiots full of anxiety, oh, I wonder what you'll get. What do you reckon I'll get? All that talk, because everyone doesn't want to admit what they've done wrong. Just say, judge, look, just sentence me now. I want to start now. I'm sorry for what I've done. I'm a drug addict. If you release me now, I'll carry on robbing and doing what I'm doing. The judge was like, look, I admire your honesty, but I can't send you to rehab from here. I was hoping he would say that to me. You've got to go to prison first. And I knew when I handed myself in, like, for some people it's okay, right? They can go, I'm going to go rehab and get well. It's still a really low point. I had to choose to go to prison first to get well. That's how serious I was about getting better. Wasn't no, like, I'm not saying, I'm going to go rehab and hopefully it works. No, I'm choosing to go to prison first for 2 years, then go to rehab to get well. So I was willing to go through serious pain to get myself better. So I accepted it and judged it. I reckon, from what you've said to me, I think 18 months do 9. My barrister turned around to me, God rest his soul, he passed away now, and I went, I'm happy with that. And he went, right then, 18 months do 9. Away you go. That was the turning point. For the first time ever, I was in jail, and I was quite happy. I ended up hanging around with the right people, got myself into an enhanced wing, was training every day. And then I was sitting in the cell one day and I was thinking, right, what can I go into? I can go back into property, make loads of money. However, I know I'll be sniffing within a few weeks. I know what I'm like. And I'm probably going to do a property business down in London because that's where the money is, which means, and I don't really want to go back to my area. I'm staying away from my area. Or I can go into fitness, where fitness will keep me clean because it's releasing endorphins anyway.
Yep.
And I also said, right, there was no clear plan on going to rehab or anything. I had to do it all from scratch in my cell. I was in Thameside, so there was a phone in the cell. I started making phone calls. But before I even made the phone calls, I was sitting there one day saying, right, if I get well, get to rehab. No, I think it might have been after before, I don't know, but so let's bring it back to the story. Sorry, I phoned up different like Forward Trust, Turning Point, different services in London. And somebody picked up the phone, was my old funder from 3 years before that, who tried to get me into rehab, into Hull where I am now. But I said, oh no, Hull. What it was, I wasn't ready yet to go to rehab because I thought I was above it. I wasn't desperate enough.
Yeah.
And he said to me, Barry, come and see you in 5 days. This was December the 5th. And he came up and see me 5 days later, come in, and I'm trying to butter him up myself. I said, look, wherever you want to send me, I'll go. Like you do, this is your job. I would take anywhere, but I was not leaving prison and going back to the same environment I went to.
Yeah.
And I said to him, wherever you put me to, I'll stay. and I'll do my best in that area to help the area. And he said, Barry, I think you can change Hull. You can do really well, especially with your drive and what you're like. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I got into Bridges Rehabilitation Centre in Hull through Forward Trust, through my funder, who I'm still good friends with now. And I went back to my cell and I'm thinking, right, when the rehab finishes, I'm going to start my own fitness business. And I thought, why don't I just start from scratch, train people in the park, doing bodyweight exercises or buy some sort of equipment. I thought, I ain't got no money. So what will I do? So I thought, wow, calisthenics is bodyweight. Let me go and study calisthenics. So I went and got a few books out of the library, started studying bodyweight training, and literally come up with the name Bossfix, because I thought my initials are BOS, right? And I thought BOS is quite, it's unique. Right?
Yes.
And I thought, how can I add another S to it? Boss, B-O-S-S. And I thought, Bossfix, Barry O'Shea, Super Fix. And I thought that's probably been used, which I think it had done. And I thought, how can I make it sound big? And I thought I'll add Academy to it. So I thought, right. And I remember going to my cellmate, we cracked it. And he was like, what? I said, the name. I said, I'm going to make millions. This is the one. I said, I've got it. And then that was it. I started writing my life story down of how I went from being this young kid, getting to this great school to where I am now. And I started planning. Then I got into the rehab. I come out of jail. The day I come out of jail, I went to rehab on my own, got on the train, come up here. Went into the rehab and I started the 12-step program. I completed it in 6 months. I was in rehab for 16 months, probably the longest serving person ever to be in rehab. But because they wouldn't allow me in the community unless I proved myself. And I get it, right? I'm from London, got bad criminal record. How do I know I'm not just going to carry on getting back on it again? Get drugs. The next minute I'm robbing houses and causing murders in their back garden. They let me in. Yeah. And they let me in. Same thing I would do myself. I wouldn't let me in. So I thought, right, I'll start a free hit class in the park. They said they wouldn't let me out of rehab. And I remember I was fuming. I was going to walk out of rehab. I was like, they won't even give me a house in town. Fucking fuming. And then my pal said to me in there, Barry, why don't you just start this business now? He was going on about it. And I went, you know what, you're right. Went back to my room, sat down, got a pen and paper, and started writing down my targets and my goals, what I was going to do. And I couldn't even copy and paste the message on my phone. Had no money. I got my first bit of universal credit. I think it was £330 back then or something. I went and bought a second-hand Toshiba laptop for £200, and I bought an iPhone 7 for £120 from the second-hand shop. Sat down, looked at it, couldn't type properly, couldn't even use a copy and paste on my phone. Then I looked at the price of personal training in Hull when it was quite low, and I thought, right, how am I going to build a life for myself, and how am I going to make this business get off the ground? So I've written down my plan. I thought, right, if I can get 48 sessions a week at this price, I earn this money, and I work backwards. Then I thought, right, I can't use the online one. I don't have a clue how to do it. So I thought, right, I'll become a Herbalife seller. They give you a free mentor. Yeah. It only costs 40 quid. So I've done that as well.
Yeah.
Then I went and got 10 t-shirts made saying Bossfix on. And I thought I could try and sell clothes. I was trying different avenues. What I know is I'm good at selling stuff.
Yeah.
So no matter what you give me, I can sell it. Right? Yep. I can put it to it, and I have that belief inside of myself. And I also have serious drive. This is a guy who was selling drugs, didn't even barely attend school in year 11. I've got 9 GCSEs, all A's and B's. So if I can do that, I've got this something inside me. I know that I've got, when I start anything, I don't stop till I get all the way to the top. And I thought, if you apply that to something, I remember sitting there one morning thinking, looking at my laptop, thinking, man, how am I going to do this? I thought, right, I'm going to start studying online coaching. I'm going to study this. I'm going to study running your own business. And I got up every day at 5 a.m. and I studied it for 3-4 hours a day, online coaching, while selling Herbalife. I think I made £200 selling Herbalife. But what it done was, it got me into the pattern of using my phone, talk to people with a better language rather than the usual council estate chav talk that I come from. Yeah. And next minute I launched a company, and it took me 2 weeks online over Christmas, and someone phoned me up and I sold my first package, I think, for £100. But before that even come about, I started off with I thought I'd start a hit class in the park. Yeah. And I started a hit class in the park and no one turned up. It was free. It was free, and it was like, I remember turning up thinking,
it's because it was free.
Yeah, well, and I remember saying, thinking, what's that film called with Kevin Costner? If you build it, they will come. And I sat in the middle of his park, like with my speaker at the book, and my brain telling me what I'll do. No one turned up, and I said, Barry, if you build it, they will come. What you can do is just keep turning up. As long as I'm there every week, there's a possibility someone will come. If I'm at home, there's no chance. And people used to say to me when I was in the rehab, why are you always leaving the rehab to walk around and talk to people for? And I said, because in here, I don't know anyone. I've got to build a community for myself. So I started running everywhere. I know the hole at the back of my hand now from running everywhere. I can do half marathons from running everywhere. And I started going to like fellowship meetings, meeting new people, and building a community. I walk down the street now, people big me. Most people know me. I mean, I was on BBC News the other day.
Yeah.
I've
Seen it.
Only from me getting up my arse, I can either sit in that room and do nothing, or I can get off my arse and go and make a life for myself. And that's literally how it started. And when I first that hit class, most people would have turned around and walked back for this. I'm not making no money. But my counsellor, he said to me, Barry, this isn't about the money. This is an investment in you. Like, if you show up every day without fail, keep getting rejected, and you're still every day putting your fingers up saying, right, I'm doing this no matter what. And that's what I've done. Do you know what I mean? And I was hustling, messaging people. It's easier now because I built the business and I got more awareness on me. But they were the early days. And when I first started with the 10 t-shirts, I bought them in the park. And then my class went from 2 members, 4 members, next minute 24 members. And it's still free. I had to put a cup on the side and say, ask for donations. I think like 30 quid. Then I put price on the class and nobody wanted to pay. So I kept on doing donations. And then I thought, what about if I make 10 t-shirts, make a clothing brand as well? So I had all these ideas, and then I went from earning £35 a month, and then I think I went up to like 10 grand a month, and it was like all in the space of a year. And it's because I was consistently there, thinking of ways. And my entire life, I figured if I got up at 5 a.m. and I worked till 7 p.m. at night, I've just done a 14-hour shift. Most people are only doing 8 hours. I'm working 2 days. During them 8 hours and most people work, they've got breaks. They're there, they're getting paid by someone else. This is me. As long as I'm productive within them 8 hours, I'm organised, I can get 3 times the amount of work done than what someone else is working one day. And I've been planning this business for 5 years. So by the time I've gone into it, in a year's time, I'm doing extremely well. Looks like this kid's come out of nowhere. I got runner-up entrepreneur 2021.
Yeah, I've seen that.
In the UK. And it was like, everyone thinks it looks great what I've done. But the truth is, I've been building this for a while, and I was working 3 times harder, more productive, and it was all coming together. And it just all kept bigger and bigger and bigger. And that was how I built the empire.
That's amazing.
So we ask everybody this question. But if the youngsters and the young adults of today, if they were watching this, what's the best advice you'd give them if they wanted to start a business from scratch, but they've got the fear factor? I don't want to do it. I just want to go to a job because of the stress and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm worried.
Sometimes your closest friend and your family members sometimes can be the ones that are holding you back, which will shock you quite big. But what is it's because subconsciously, as I said earlier, they might not be willing to go as far as you know you can go. If you know inside you can do something, then go and do it. Do not hold back. Sometimes you've got to work a 9 to 5, do your side hustle and your side hustle, and then your side hustle will make enough money till it takes over. You know, as I said earlier, when the time I left the rehab, at my own place, at my own gym, 12 employees, I got runner-up entrepreneur while I was living in a rehab. No one knew. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
With a second-hand fucking laptop.
Rehab and you got runner-up entrepreneur.
No one knew.
Wow.
So it's like, and then the next minute I've got Pakistan manufacturers making £30,000 shipments of clothes over to me 3 times a year. I'm only leaving the rehab still. Everyone's like, what's happened? I've gone from sitting there, turning up at rehab with £14 in my pocket, clothes from a bin in prison, started off from scratch, to suddenly within 18 months now I've got property, my first gym being built, being employed, and within it all I'm gaining all the knowledge and the skills to go further in life. And it was so back to your question, don't anyone hold you back. And whatever you do as well, everyone's got a different gauge on life, right? And I'm a fond believer in this. Like, for example, I think I work hard. Put me next to Elon Musk, I'm lazy. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got their own gauge on life. So if you're hanging around with people whose gauge is not high enough, then you need to sort it out, because it means you're going to carry on thinking it's okay. Because you'll gauge your life off of someone else around you. And I'm doing it right, I'm not as bad as that. And that's a great asset to have. And don't get me wrong, I'm very highly driven, I have high standards. But if you hang around with people who are winning, you will win.
Yeah. So what you've just said there is a massive important thing. Now, where we live, not the biggest of area, very similar stuff to what you've done when you were younger. And I say to Lee, there's 2 paths we have here. Now, when I used to have my gym, I used to try being that positive role model, taking care of my lads. I just wanted them to succeed in life, to have that person that they could go, they were always there for me, because I had that in my life. But then when I closed my gym, I was having parents ring me saying, my child's gone into taking substances, selling substances, been getting in fights, trouble and stuff like that. So when we came up with the idea, I was like, how can I inspire my young lads to stay on track, They know I'm there and I can inspire them still. And this is when we came up with the podcast. I'm trying to get people in like you to say, I've been there, I've done that. And you're living proof yourself that you can go to the bottom, but you can rise with the right frame of mind, the right personal development program, and just sticking to what you want to do with the right choices.
I think ultimately, you can speed up the process by going through certain programs and everything else. But ultimately, if you're willing to put the work in and do what you really like, it's got to be your number one priority. I'm talking above everything. Like, because I'm telling you, what you ain't doing, there's someone else out there doing. Trust me. Like I didn't just get BBC phoning me the other day or get the newspaper article saying I'm one of the best in the country because I was doing the things that people ain't doing. I've come up with loads of my own concepts, my own exercises, and worked extremely hard. But like, who said it in the podcast? The harder I work, the luckier I get. Literally.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. I think if you are in that field, whatever you're doing, and you are at it, and you are there without fail, sooner or later, you will rise and someone will pull you out of it, and you'll be right there at the top. Because you'll get noticed because you're doing it more than everyone else. Whereas while you're sitting there, as I said, take me back to that room when I'm sitting in the rehab, I could stay there. Everyone else is staying in the rehab. Well, it's too cold out. And I'm sitting there now with multiple gyms, just come off the back of clothing brands and things are growing, you know what I mean? And it's like, if I carried on sitting in that room and I took a risk to put all your universal credit into buying a laptop and a phone with no guarantee. I know it's only a small risk, but back then that's all I had. When you've got no guarantee, I mean, the biggest risk you take is when you've got no guarantee of what you're going to get by the end of it. But what I do have a guarantee of is I'm highly driven. I'll work hard. And he says it in what's that film called? With Will Smith. And they ask him a question. He said, "I'm the sort of guy."
Oh yes, with his son. He's got his son.
Yeah.
Forgot what the film.
The Pursuit of Happiness.
That's the one.
He said, "I'm the sort of guy. If you ask a question, I don't know the answer, but you better know. I know how to find the answer. Well, I'm the sort of person. You ask me a question, I might not know it straight away, but I'll drive until I get the answer. And I'm the sort of person. Whatever I'm doing, I'm not in it to come second best. I know it sounds mental, but I'm highly driven. I'll push and push and push. And if I finish second, so be it. I'll be a fucking good second." Which I did become a runner-up. You got. Yeah, it's just. I think with business, you got to keep on going. You got to drive. You got to have a serious drive. Got to be willing to do it. It's weird because I'm at the. Just had some of my biggest grossing months ever. In terms of academy members, everything do well, but I've got more time in my hands. Some of the things I've learned is that it's not all money that you want; it's time and happiness. But in all, money's great and it helps hugely. By the end of it all, I think helping people does well. You know, on the back of the business, I've helped launch Cocaine Anonymous in Hull, helped save hundreds of lives. I've done lots of free events. I still do free stuff now. I'm running a Bossfix homeless charity. Some of the best things I've ever got is from seeing a mum smile, knowing that her son's going to be all right. Finding my brother on the street, homeless, and now he's clean, back of his missus. His daughter's 4th birthday yesterday. 2 years ago, I found him on the street. Phoned me up, like, I've been trying to get hold of him for phoned him every week, wasn't answering the phone, bad on drugs. My using partner, so we said drinking, take drugs. Now he's clean, man. Like, and it's like, there's no better feeling than that, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, man, all from me getting clean, other people are doing well. And from that, acorns come oak trees. There'll be many people out there that can build businesses from what I'm doing. And it's, yeah, it works.
What does the future look for you personally and for the business?
I don't want to sound too arrogant in myself, but it's, if you're watching this and you don't have a clue who I am, you will do. It's a good way to start it. No, I generally drive to be the best of what I do. I've done extremely well. I think in the online world, I've pushed up. I'm nowhere near the top. I've got a few studio gyms now as well. I'm going to be opening a commercial unit soon. I've got one down in London. I employ dozens of people now. Counsellors on board as well. My main goal is to just grow as big as I can. I mean, I've been on various newspaper articles, podcasts, been recognised by some of the top people, celebrity endorsements, and it's growing. It's getting pushed out. I've got directors on board with me who are £1 million companies, and I've had people from Dubai offering me like a big sum of money, which I don't really want to say, for a percentage of my business. I've had other businesses that
6-7 figures worth.
Yes. Massive, yeah. They actually come all the way to London and met me in Portobello in a restaurant, and I was sitting there thinking, the guy come all the way from Dubai, so it was serious. You know what I mean? We got to the point where money was going to get transferred, and then I pulled out at the end because I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't really want to be giving away a percent of my
If it
business.
doesn't feel right,
Yeah, it didn't feel right. And it felt a little bit unspiritual. You know, I follow a 12-step spiritual program, which I haven't really spoke about much in this podcast, but I have to live correctly. I signed into a covenant of peace. Since I've been living correctly, my life's gone well. No surprise, since I got on my hands and knees every morning and prayed and asked God for help every day, I seem to be doing really well. So I just keep on doing what I'm doing. You know, and I put one foot in front of the other. As I said, my biggest goal, as I spoke to you earlier about, it was to be the biggest health and wellbeing brand, fitness brand, and not just that, just branch into everything. You know, be huge. Maybe go into politics in the future. I mean, if I can do this well in 3 years, I've only been out of rehab 2.5 years.
Wow.
Which is nuts.
Wow.
Which is nuts. And it's like, so if I can do this much in 2.5 years, who knows where I'll be with. And I felt like I was playing catch up as well, because I was in prison for loads of years and drug addicts. But yeah, I just want to go further. Keep getting bigger and bigger.
like we say, you don't look back, you look to
the future.
To the future.
Yeah, that's it. Like, personally as well, I could never really hold down a relationship properly. As I said, rejection issues, don't really understand about relationship. And for the first time ever, I'm with the right person because I attracted the right person because I'm the right person now.
Yeah.
I can actually, my fiance, I got engaged in Rome last year. Went in Dubai for a holiday. Went on 5 holiday European cities last year. I'm living a really nice, good life from the essence of my hard work and from helping people a lot. And we was engaged to get married, but she got pregnant. Got 2 months to go now. My first child. Congratulations! All the essence of them days back in that rehab with nothing, or that point where I sat in that canal. It's all come together. It's worked. It worked, man. It's nowadays saying that film is it? He goes, I love it when a plan comes together. It's happened. You know what I mean? I've got a massive social media platform now. It's growing.
Your social media platforms. How do we get hold of you? What's the names on the platforms? If you can just
Bossfix Academy, Bossfix, BOSSFIX Academy.com. I've also got down as one of the best coaches in the country. Thought it's a no-brainer. I might as well start a business of how to make any business go online using social media. So I launched it back in February this year. I've done a second relaunch of it, introduced a 12 module course within it all, and that's doing extremely well as well. Like it makes total sense. I might as well teach people how to go online. I'm really good online stuff. I mean, a guy who couldn't copy and paste their messages selling an online course. But I mean, I've got some of my members who are earning over 15, 20k months in the space of 5 months online. So I know it works, and I wanted to show my value of how good I was by running 2 businesses together, which and I've set the foundations correct because now I've got more time on my hands, which is nuts to say that, but I've built really good foundations. I've got a really good, strong team around me, and it's working really. And if you want to get hold of me on that, that's Barry O'Shea _OTS online trainer school. But you'll find it from my Instagram page. It's the same on Facebook. It's Barry O'Shea, TikTok Bossfix Academy, and you'll probably see me on LinkedIn next year, pushing forward.
There we go. Perfect. And obviously we're at the Bossfix Academy over here in Hull.
Yes. I'm in Hull now on Freetown Way. Anyone wants to check me out, go on Instagram or go on my website, www.bossfixacademy.com. Give me a shout. If anyone actually generally needs any help in terms of drugs, also message me as well. I answer the phones for people in Cocaine Anonymous. I help people in that direction as well. And I do that for anyone. There's no cost or anything. You just message me and I'll help you out. I'll do my best. You know.
And there's no better help than somebody who's actually been there and done it.
Yeah, it does. However, I'm going to give you a crazy one say this, right? That's great. I was in prison once and I said to a woman, she was 22, right? I said, have you ever taken drugs before? You're about to fucking help me. She went to me. So tell me this then. If you broke your leg and went into hospital, would you only let the doctor operate on you who'd broken his leg? And I was like, oh, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that. I was like, no, I'm really. But then again, I suppose you'd be really desperate if he was in hospital. But then again, if you're on enough drugs, you would be desperate. And I was like, it's a really good answer. I'm going to use that. But I do believe, back to what you said, I'm not trying to dismiss what you said. I do fully believe if you've been in it, it's very good to get there's certain things they're going to know behind the scenes of how to work it.
Yeah.
Barry, just a quick question, because again, like I said, we try to inspire the younger generation of our town. Now, when you were in that life and you were making a large amount of money, would you say that you're making a lot more money now, being legit though?
I make more money now, or I'm about to make more money now, being legal, with no one chasing me, no one trying to shoot me. Like, don't listen. Like, youngsters look up to people. Oh my God, did you see him? Look, oh my God, he stabbed someone the other day. Sounds all great. And all these youngsters now, do you know what you get for a gun? You get 5 years straight, minimum. Carrying a knife, 6 months straight. It sounds all great. You might get a little couple of months, you can handle it, you come out, you've got a big ego, you're a big boy. Go and do 5 or 10 years. Let's see how brave you are then. Or go and shoot someone and get a recommended 27 years. Then go and sit there. You're 2 years in, everyone's like, yeah, you're the man, you've got a big ego. Then 2 years in, you realise, oh, I've got to do another 25 years. There's no going to football matches with my dad. There's no going to cinema. There's no having kids. This is me. Fuck that, mate. Like, there's more to life than that. And I realised that after I got shot, I was in prison. I thought, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in this. So, this, man. And I went and I managed to build a life. And only till I was fully broken. You know what I mean? I wouldn't accept it. But it's like, you don't need, like, if you can make money in the illegal world, doing the wrong thing, and I can survive in this area, selling drugs and do well, and get through what I've been through, then man, I should be able to make something in the legal world. Do you know what I mean? And most people, drug dealers, can do exactly the same. They just don't know it. They just got this feeling that they can't because everyone else around them sees it as impossible. Because no one from the hood makes it out. No one becomes an entrepreneur. No one runs a business. Oh, we sell drugs around here. That's what we do. We rob banks. You can do better than that. If you can get your skills together, they're all transferable skills, and I've proven it. I'm doing it myself. I mean, yes, I went to a good school, and yes, I wasn't born smart. I worked hard in school, and some people haven't worked hard in school. Doesn't mean you can't now. I didn't know how to copy and paste a message, but I soon learned. If you really want what you want, you just got to go and do it. You got to put it, and don't stop until you get it.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And again, this is why we did this, just to be like, because we get the gangster, the trap life, and I'm like, the youngsters, even Lee knows this, the youngsters in my gym, I'm just like, just keep grounded and just, it's hard and it's difficult. And I know you might not have money, like, but if you work at something hard enough, it'll come to you. Yeah. It will, just trust me.
What they don't know as well is that every big gangster, if you ever find a gangster who's willing to get vulnerable, ask him to tell you the truth about how he got there. And he will tell you 20 years in hell. All that they do, trust me, don't think they don't get afraid because they do. Oh, great, he's involved in this, he's involved in that. Mate, he's spent many years on a Christmas day in a room by himself eating left-legged chicken for Christmas dinner. So that's what they give you in job. And it's not a nice place to be. It sounds all great. Oh, yeah, because people only want to remember the good parts. They don't want to tell you the real realities of it. If you find somebody who ain't full of ego and to tell you the truth, it's not been an easy journey. They might tell you about sexual grooming like I just did. They might tell you about years of torment, years of being bullied. You know what I mean? The reason why they're doing that now is because they don't want to go back to where it was before. And it's not nice. You know, it might look great. It sounds great to be a big gangster, but do you know what it entails to be a big gangster? The same way I have people who I know earn over 100k a month, right? And it sounds great. So no, it sounds great. Do you know what it entails to earn that money? It's serious work. It doesn't come about overnight. It's like, have you got...
Well, it's not a life, is it?
No, have you got what it takes to be in that position? Because you might sound great, you want to be that person, but have you got what it takes to really, the meat and gravy to be in that position? Because I don't think many people have. And it's not probably really a life you want.
Because I said to Lee, when I first got in touch with you, I was like, we have to get Barry on. This is a guy. Again, there's two people that have just changed my life and my thought and my perspective. I have a lot of friends, but people that I keep at arm's length. My close circle net, Lee, my mate Bally, and my family as well, who I try to stay in touch with. But everybody else, yeah, I am your mate and I know you on the street, and we might have a relationship to a certain extent, but when I've been ready down, where were you? It's like I said to you,
Yeah.
one thing that I've realised with my daughter is like, in my dark times, where were you guys? And the only things that's been working on myself, trying to work on myself, my personal development, my business that I'm trying to get off the ground, starting from zero. This whole 18, 19 months has taught me so much. The two big changing factors in my life was the podcast we've done before with Richard and yours, because I was like, look at the journeys and look where you are. You're a 6-7 figure, 6-7 figure coach, and there ain't no lie in that.
And you know what is the people that you're saying when you said like, where were they when I was down, everything else? They're the people that are holding you back. Let them go. They don't want you now. Trust me, they're holding you back. You feel like you need them for support, man. You're better off doing it by yourself. When you can do things on your own, yeah. And don't be wrong, it's great having people around you. When you can build a life for yourself on your own, you are untouchable. Because everything else is just a bonus. It doesn't matter what happens. I can go. I can survive. Been there, done it. I can survive in a room by myself for years on end. Shitty food. I can survive in a rehab for 16 months full of nutters. And if you can do that, come out of it on top. You've got something about you. You can do well. And you're doing it yourself right now over 18 months.
Yeah.
You're on the right path.
Barry, thank you very, very much for inviting us. Thank you for telling us and hopefully the hundreds of thousands and millions of people that watch your story. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been brilliant, Barry. Thank you very much,
Thanks for being
mate.
on the D as well.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.